I was sipping on some tea and reflecting on some circumstances in my life that from a certain angle, it could be argued, I don't know how bad are because I've never experienced the alternative. And that got me thinking about how bad the UFO cover-up may actually be. Maybe we can't perceive the sheer extreme negative nature of it simply because we have never experienced the alternative. From the moment we've been born, our entire lives up until this moment, we have been living under what some call a truth embargo. And so we have no experience outside of this Truman world environment. So we can only create theoretical and envisioned frameworks to assess how bad the cover-up is. But we cannot actually objectively ascertain how bad it is because we've never experienced the alternative. David Grusch was recently on the Tucker Carlson show, or at least it was published recently. And he said that, yes, some of it should be classified because some of it is straight up national superiority, national security oriented. But 95% of this non-human presence should be studied by our world. And I was thinking about what disclosure would do for science. Just think about that. What would disclosure do for our collective interest in science? I think it would explode. I think one of the main attributes of a post-disclosure world is that civilization would become much more interested in science, and that the alien presence would be like a doorway to draw us in to science as a whole. I'm not saying science isn't popular now. I'm just saying I think it would become much more popular. And there are probably other very significant benefits that would emerge as a result of disclosure that would benefit civilization. And since we've been living under the cover-up from birth until this very moment, we simply don't have the capability of understanding how bad the cover-up is because we haven't experienced the textured, multifaceted alternative that a post-disclosure world would inevitably be. A world of much greater truth. A quick analogy that came into my mind would be like, and it's not a perfect analogy or metaphor, but it'd be like, what if there were no flowers on our planet and somehow the government had the capacity to remove all traces of flowers? There's no flowers. We hear stories about flowers, but we've never had a crystal clear picture of a daisy or a rose or a periwinkle. But we've heard descriptions. And then all of a sudden, a day comes where we all wake up, all 8 billion of us collectively, and there are flowers all over the place. Imagine how that would inspire humanity and science for that matter. And yet we're not talking about a plant. We're talking about what appears to be multiple intelligences with much better technology, much smarter than we are, that may have been here since time immemorial, and the governments of our world have created an environment that leads us down the wrong path of the nature of our reality. So while they haven't actually stripped the phenomenon from being here, they have intentionally orchestrated disinformation campaigns so that we wouldn't give the attention this phenomenon deserves. We wouldn't give the amount of attention this phenomenon deserves. We have been played in the most supreme of ways. So, when someone says to you, you're making too much of a deal about the cover-up, retort them with, maybe, maybe not. We don't know what it's like to live outside of the cover-up. Thus, we don't have the ability to ascertain objectively how bad it truly is. Have a good one. Special thanks to all patrons, YouTube members, those that have bought merch, those that have given me one-time donation. I couldn't do without you. Thank you so much. See you in the next episode.